Good morning, everyone. Today, I am at the Church of the Resurrection in Solon, Ohio. I will be talking to Father Dragga, and I cannot wait to show you the inside of this place. The natural light is incredible. And right behind me, the Blessed Mother. So, I'm gonna get in there. I cannot wait to show you more. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello everyone, it is a beautiful day in June in Northeast Ohio, and today we're at the Church of the Resurrection in Solon, Ohio, and I'm here with Father Dragga. So, this church is amazing. I could not believe when I came in the lighting in here, just so much natural light, which sometimes you don't see. So, give me a history of this church. When was it founded, and how long have you been here?
So the parish was founded in 1971. In June, actually, so it's 55 years old. For the first 3 years, we worshiped over at Dorothy Lewis Elementary School. That was where they started the parish. They would set up the gym every week and have Mass, and they affectionately called the parish St. Dorothy's Parish, even though it was named Resurrection. And then they built a new church on the front of our property. And so for the first 20-some years, there was a church on the front of the property, and it was built to image, if you will, kind of the darkness of the tomb. Mm-hmm. So there was no natural light. There were stained glass windows, but they were very dark. There was only one light above the sanctuary, which was a skylight that would bring in some light. So when they built this church 22 years ago, this church was built in 2004. That's when they dedicated the church. One of the things that they wanted a lot of natural light. So that's why they positioned the church here, so that it could be along the woods, as well as to have light in the church itself. So
Wow, I was wondering that too, because I came in here, I'm like, every window, like it's lit up in here, and it's so much natural light, which I wish my house had this much natural light. It's beautiful, I love it. So how long have you been a priest?
I've been here, it'll be 11 years this July. I've been a priest 43 years.
Wow, so where were you at before this?
So prior to this, I was pastor of St. Luke's Parish in Lakewood for about a little less than 2 years, and then Bishop Lennon at that time asked me to come here to Resurrection. Prior to being at St. Luke's, I was at our seminary in Wycliffe. I served as the rector of Borromeo Seminary I was there 17 years, but total probably about 21 years on the faculty.
Oh, that's so cool. I love going up to Borromeo too. Mm-hmm. My brother was in seminary for about 1.5 years.
Really?
Yeah, so he loved it. So that's awesome that you were there. So did you always know that you wanted to be a priest?
Since I was in second grade.
Wow, that's amazing.
So when I was in second grade, I grew up at St. Wenceslaus Parish in Maple Heights, which is now closed, and my parents would bring myself and my brother and sister to church, and the priests and the sisters of St. Joseph, and the priests, they would stand at each of the doors of the church before and after Mass, and they would talk to the parishioners, etc. And the priests would come out onto the playground during the week and play kickball with us. And as a little second grader, I thought, this is a good job. You just talk to people on Sunday and play kickball during the week. Life can't get no heavy lifting. Nothing can get any better. So as time went on, I kind of developed in terms of what it meant to be a priest, but since second grade.
Oh, that's so amazing. You knew such an early age. And what's your favorite thing about being a priest?
I would say that I love celebrating the sacraments. I especially like celebrating the liturgy. I love preaching. And then probably the third thing would be I like the variety. That every day is a little different, and that you're doing different things in order to help people and to continue the mission of Jesus. So.
That is amazing, because I feel like every day is different for a Catholic priest. I'm pretty close to a Catholic priest at St. Albert the Great's, Father Gideon, and he was telling me that. He's like, I had to put stuff in my calendar, like I'm always busy, and he loves it. So that I love hearing that.
Dominic was one of my students.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at the seminary, That
is so fun.
He's a great guy.
He is amazing. Yeah, he's actually in France right now.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's on a pilgrimage.
Okay,
so
good.
He's probably going to watch this, so he's like, yeah, he's talking to me. But my older brother was in the seminary with Dominic Gideon too, so that's funny.
What's your older brother's name?
Dominic Ravanelli.
Okay.
Yeah,
I did not know him. I had Dominic in theology, in homiletics. I still teach homiletics at the seminary. So I had Dominic in class.
Oh, that's so amazing. What a small world. How large is the parish? How many families do you have?
So the parish is about 1,200 households, and it hovers about 1,200 from year to year. It doesn't grow much, and it hasn't declined much in its enrollment. So it's been about 1,200. We're one of two parishes here in Solon. The other parish is St. Rita Parish at the other end of Solon, and they also have a school, and they're much larger because they're more densely populated in that area. So.
Oh, I've heard of St. Rita. That's a pretty large parish. So I'm looking forward to going on a tour of this parish, because I only saw a little part of it. I thought I saw there was a garden over there.
So we have a number of gardens. So we have outside the east entrance, we have the Marian Garden, so the statue of Mary and the rose garden there. And then if you go along the front of the building and you enter from our driveway, we have what's called the Founder's Garden. And there's a large cross in that garden that was placed there. It was the original cross on the bell tower of the first church. And we could not reuse that on the new bell tower when we renovated the parish center. So we placed that there and dedicated that garden to all of the founding members of Resurrection, many of whom are still alive and part of the parish community. And then as you come along the east or the west side, behind the church is what's called the Healing Garden, and that's directly behind us here. And the Healing Garden was dedicated on the 50th anniversary of the parish. Bishop Malesic dedicated it right during the midst of COVID. We had to have an outdoor mass in order that we could accommodate people. And we dedicated that garden to the victims of the sex abuse crisis, as well as all the victims who died as a result of COVID. And so there's a garden there with a labyrinth, and then there's a little bridge that goes into a path for the Stations of the Cross in the woods.
I cannot wait to show the audience that, because I saw it when I was coming in. I'm like, I wonder what that is. So you're definitely going to see it. So I think we can now go on a tour. But thank you again
Sure.
for your time, and I'm looking forward to kind of looking around Church of the Resurrection.
Sure,
Thank you.
happy to give you a tour.
Yeah, thanks.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you. Come on in. Welcome to Resurrection. So let me tell you a little bit about this church. The parish was founded in 1971, and we started over at Lewis Elementary School for about the first 3 years, and then they moved to the original church on the front of the property. And in about the year 2000, they did a strategic plan called Alleluia 2000. And during that time, they wanted to build a new church. But before they even put pen to paper, the community spent about a year studying the documents of the Second Vatican Council, and then another year studying the document Living Stones on how to build a church. And then they went forward in creating a new church. One of the things about this church is that there is an awful lot of light in here, and that was intentional because the original church had very, very little light, and the community wanted light. They also wanted to be able to see each other because they wanted that real sense of community. So the church was designed in what is called antiphonal seating. So the two sides with the altar at one end and the ambo at the other end. And the church also has, because of its resurrection parish, every part of the church speaks to the mystery of the resurrection. So you'll notice that the building has eight walls. So it's an 8-sided building, an octagon, and it speaks to the idea of the 7 days of creation, the 8th day being the day of perfection, the day of resurrection. So everything in the church has that 8-sided figure. The baptismal font, when you first enter in, is 8-sided. The platform for the ambo is 8-sided. The altar platform is 8-sided, and the altar itself is 8-sided. So come on here, I'm going to show you. So here is our ambo, where the word is proclaimed, the scriptures are proclaimed, the preaching takes place, and that's the only thing we would use the ambo for. And it is a moment of reverence in the life of the parish community to hear God's word proclaimed, and the people are really very attentive. Our altar here is, as I mentioned, 8-sided, and they intentionally chose to have the altar be made of wood so as to, in a sense, remember the Last Supper and the table at which Jesus and the disciples would have sat at. The altar in most churches is stone or marble, and that would really be the normative, if you will. But they wanted this in the idea of being the resurrection to speak to that Last Supper moment. So that's why they chose to do a wood altar. Over here, I'm kind of bouncing around here, over here is the statue of the women witnesses. And this statue came over from Italy, and it's the image of the witnesses to the resurrection. So Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary of Magdala, and Mary, the wife of Clopas. Mary, the mother of Jesus, with her hand held high in that kind of position of praise and thanks for the gift of her son, as well as the idea of lifting him up as the sign of the resurrection. Mary of Magdala, with her hand out like this in testimony, in witness to the resurrection, being the first witness to the resurrection. And then Mary, the wife of Clopas, who was the silent witness, and her hand is simply placed on the shoulder of Mary of Magdala in support. That sometimes some of us speak in praise, some of us speak in witness and testimony, and some of us speak in support of one another. This statue is a delight especially for the children, because the kids will sometimes, when they get bored with me, they will come and sit at the feet of Mary, and they'll just you can see kind of a natural spot there where they can sit down, and they'll just plop themselves down there. And it's just kind of nice to see that, that they are that close to the art and the statues, and in a sense, Mary and the witnesses to the resurrection. They'll also pass by and give Mary of Magdala a high five as they go by. That's always kind of a fun thing to see. This statue then looks onto the image of the crucified Christ. And you see that image of the crucified Christ, and we're going to take a walk over there. The image of the crucified Christ is, in its background is the cross, with the idea that even crucifixion cannot hold Jesus to the cross. And so he is coming off the cross. And this particular sculpture is it's a replica of a sculpture that was done by, or it's a series of sculptures that was done by an artist, of which I forgot his name, in Los Angeles. The cross and the image of Christ at Our Lady of Angels Cathedral in Los Angeles, as well as what used to be Robert Schuller's Tower of Power. He has a copy of this image of the Christ in that chapel. That chapel is now part of Christ Cathedral in the Diocese of Orange. And you see the cross behind it, and this cross is the cross that we use for it's our processional cross for liturgy, as well as the cross that we will venerate on Good Friday. So it's all used for different things. Let's take a walk over here. The church was designed to, as I said, antiphonal seating, but also to have kind of that monastery feel. So you see the ambulatory along the back of the church, and on the walls in the church are the stations of the resurrection. And so they are all the images of Christ after the resurrection, the various appearances of Christ to the disciples after the resurrection. Our stations of the cross are in our prayer garden, which is out next to or just off of our healing garden. In this window here, which leads to the healing garden, is what's called the devotional area. And right now we have what's called the prayer bog, and that holds the prayer intentions of the community. But at different times of the year, we will place other devotional items there. So like during the month of May, we have an icon of the Blessed Mother. At Advent, there is the Advent wreath, and during Christmas, the manger scene. So at different times of the year, that will change depending on the season or the occasion. During the month of October, we've had a statue of St. Francis in that spot. This devotional area looks onto our Blessed Sacrament Chapel. And the chapel is, there's this very ornate door, wooden door, that is the image of the tree of life. And you can kind of see the tree of life. And the artist, the wood carver who did this, left the knots in the wood kind of to give the idea that even in our own lives, there are moments where there are knots, difficulties, and we don't lose those, but we in some way acknowledge them and celebrate them because they lead us into a greater mystery of Christ. So come on in. We're going to go into the Blessed Sacrament Chapel. This chapel was, the architect's image here was to create a rounded space so as to give the image of the tomb of Jesus. So you notice that it's a little bit darker, and the Blessed Sacrament sits right in the middle, and this is the original tabernacle for the chapel. And on this wall was the original door to the tabernacle in the original church. And it would open this way. It was fit into a wall, and it would open this way. Don Drum Studios in Akron, they re-gilded this for us and then created this candle box for devotional candles. The windows in the chapel are really quite special. The images, especially of the angels, because this is a space for prayer and private devotion and reflection, the image of the angels, you'll notice the angel's head is sideways, and you see kind of the ear, and then on the wings, it looks like eyeballs. It's the idea that the angel is always listening and always watching. Always listening and always watching. The other windows give that image of fire, the fire of the Holy Spirit. And then this particular chapel, the Blessed Sacrament Chapel, was dedicated to the martyrs of El Salvador, Saint Oscar Romero, the Jesuit martyrs, and especially our own local martyrs here in Cleveland, Dorothy Kazel and Jean Donovan, both Clevelanders. The parish was founded in 71, shortly after the martyrs, or shortly after the diocese established their mission in El Salvador. And so we wanted to dedicate this chapel to the martyrs because the parish also has a real commitment to issues of social justice. Right next to our Blessed Sacrament Chapel is the Reconciliation Chapel. Again, it has the image of the stained glass is the image of the tree of life. That both in the Eucharist and in those moments where we become reconciled with God and with our brothers and sisters, we can recreate ourselves more fully into God's image. And so we have reconciliation every Saturday afternoon here in the chapel. Let's go this way here. Again, I wanted to come back to the baptismal font. Almost all of our baptisms take place at Mass. And so the people absolutely love when we have children being baptized at church. They get excited. The font is heated, and so we'll turn it's not heated right now, but we'll turn the heat on for the font, and so they will feel that and they'll get excited like, oh, there's a baptism this morning. And then people will gather around for the baptisms at Sunday Mass. So it really is a neat experience to see. And the children just love coming around the font. I think probably to play with the water more so. So, let's go this way here, and I'll just take you out into our gathering area. So this is our gathering area. So we have 2 parking lots, so people come in from either side for liturgy, and they'll gather here, socialize, etc., and then go into the church. And then we're going to take a quick walk up into our old space. So we're going to take a quick walk up into what's called Emmaus Hall, which was our first church. It was renovated 3 years ago. It'll be on the Feast of Christ the King as the day of the dedication 3 years ago. And this space is used for Sunday socials. We have a coffee and pastry social after every Mass, every week, Saturday night as well as Sunday. And they're in this space here. But the thing that I want to show you is right over here. This is the bell tower that's on the front of the property. And if you turn around and face the church, from the call to worship straight down to the baptismal font, to the ambo, and to the altar. So from the call to worship right to the altar, it's in a straight line. When the architects were redesigning this space, they spent about a month with us just looking around, and they saw how we worshiped and what was important to us as a community, both the liturgy as well as the opportunity for community. And so they placed the bell tower right on the front of the property. With that, let's, right over there, that's the original image that was on our sanctuary wall. Right about where I'm standing now was the original sanctuary wall, and that image of the resurrected Christ, again built in 1971, so that would have been the art at that time. So we kept that and placed it here in this space here. And with that, we're going to take a walk back here to the front. This little path of white brick is the original sanctuary wall. And so we kept part of it as a remembrance of where the parish community began. And then the statue here is, the obelisk is an image of the resurrected Christ. With that, that's a little bit about Resurrection Parish. Thanks for joining us.
All right, everyone, I am leaving the Church of the Resurrection in Solon, Ohio. That place was beautiful, such a great tour, and the aerial shots gave you a good idea how big this place is. So, again, I ask every single time, I'm gonna ask again. Please like and subscribe and comment your church you want me to visit next. It can be anywhere in the United States. I will try to get there. Have a good one.